Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it's so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
Well, Hump Day edition of the JP Peterson Show. We got lots to get to today, as we always do, because, hey, it's Tampa Bay, and there's always stuff going on. And we got breaking news. We have breaking news. Good morning to you, Peter Blake from the Sports Web. How are you?
I'm doing good, buddy. How are you doing?
I'm good because
breaking news is the Rays actually got some hits or got some consecutive wins. Is that what it is? No?
They can't even hit people when they're fighting. They can't even hit when they're fighting. I blew the line. They can't even hit when they're fighting. They swing and miss. They swing and miss when they fight. Jose Siri has more strikeouts than anybody in baseball. He can't hit a baseball and he can't hit somebody he's trying to hit. It's right in front of him.
You ever seen Major League 2?
Oh, yeah. No, I don't know if I saw that. Sounds like a really bad sequel to a great movie.
Well, it kind of is, but it kind of isn't. It's kind of what the Rays are going through right now.
Yeah.
And they're fighting each other and fighting it. And I think Euchre says, somebody hit Charlie Sheen's character. Well, why not? Everybody else has hit him.
Exactly. Oh, brutal. Let me set up the show real quick here. Scott Reynolds is going to join us right off the top at about 10:05. We're going to do some Bucks draft analysis. They also met with the offensive coaches yesterday, get a little glimpse into the new offensive coaching staff. Also, Dan Lucas will join us at 11 o'clock. We'll talk some Lightning and some Rays with him and some Buccaneers, as always, all things Tampa Bay sports. The breaking news is this morning, Julien Brisebois, meeting the media on the exit interviews along with John Cooper, was obviously asked about the Stamkos contract. He said he talked to Stammer after Game 5, talked to his agent, and he's very hopeful something's going to get done. So now I've got some other people out there that are telling me, oh, Stamkos is buying a house in Naples. And I'm like, I have no idea. He just bought a house on Davis Island, just bought my friend's house on Davis Island a couple of years ago. So I have no idea if that's true. So to me, we'll find out here in short order. I know the Lightning want to re-sign him, but it's a matter of dollars and cents. If somebody comes at him with a big money deal, which could definitely happen, could be Toronto, could be whoever. Maybe this is the time he goes back to Toronto. I don't know. But listen, it's going to be a tough deal. Look, the Bucks had the same situation with Mike Evans. Almost the same exact situation. A player on the backside, on the back nine of their career, but still incredibly productive. Like for Stammer's coming off 40 goals. He was our MVP in the playoffs. He was our best player, no question. But is he worth $8.5 million a year at age 35, 36, 37, 38? I don't know about that. As much as I love Stammer, this is a business. So they're going to have to, in some way, find a middle ground. If there were unlimited, listen, from a what has he done for us? Same thing with Mike Evans. It's like, yes to everything. That he couldn't be a better player. He couldn't be a better teammate. Couldn't be a better captain. Couldn't be a better everything. But Stamkos wants to win too now. Stamkos is. I don't think he's in it just to get a big payday. Maybe he is. I don't know. Maybe he is. I don't think so. That doesn't match up with his character that I've observed over his 14 years. That's in fact, it's in direct conflict with what he if he was all about the money, he would have gone to Toronto 7 years ago. So that's not who he is. Now, does he feel disrespected that the Lightning didn't get it done before the season? Maybe. But I think he also understands that, for Brisebois, he had a better idea of where the salary cap was going. He needed to find out where the salary cap was going. He needed to look at some other players, get another year of them, and frankly, get another year of Stamkos. Was he going to decline, or was he going to stay the same or get better? And the numbers have been tremendous. Over 120 goals in the last 3 years. He's been tremendous in the playoffs. He's clearly one of the best leaders in the game, if not the best leader in the game. So but again, you can't be paying guys $8.5 million when they're 35, 36, 37. Look what's happened. Look what happened to the Blackhawks post Cups. Look what happened to the Penguins. Yeah, they barely make the playoffs, but they don't do anything. Is that the team you think Steven Stamkos wants to be on? No. He knows there's got to be money to bring in other players. So that's going to be the decision that he makes and Brisebois makes. But I think more than anything, it's up to Steven Stamkos. Does he deserve $8.5 million? I mean, deserve is a weird word here.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. He deserves more than that. But with a salary cap league, you can't do that. You just can't. So we'll see where it goes. But I think if they're optimistic. I think the Lightning. I think the Lightning will push the envelope. I think they'll probably overpay what they should to get it done. But here we are, and let's hope they get it done because we want him to be a Bolt for life. We want Mike Evans to be a Buck for life. We want Evan Longoria. Oh yeah, that was never going to happen.
Yeah.
As I put on Twitter, Bolt for life, Buck for life, except for the guy across the way in St. Pete who does all the taking and no giving. Yeah, wouldn't it be nice though someday to have a player that stayed as a Ray their entire career? Wouldn't that be nice?
It would be nice. It would be nice. Yeah, absolutely. How did you love? You had to like with the Bolts down 2 goals, the talk or the fear mongering, if you will, of ESPN and talking about Stamkos. This could be at the end. This is it. I mean,
well, Peter, I'll just be honest with you. I wasn't watching ESPN. When I have a chance to watch Bally's and listen to Dave Randolph and Brian Engblom, you think I'm going to listen to those knuckleheads?
Oh,
no.
Terrible.
No. And I love Steve Levy. Love a lot of people that work over at ESPN. Sal Powell, Steve Levy. Their hockey crew is pretty damn good. Callahan. But again, if I have an opportunity to listen to the local broadcast, I'm definitely going to listen to those guys over at ESPN. And it's interesting. After Game 5, we came to the post game or Game 4, and I said to Brian and Austin Wright, our broadcaster, I said, a lot of people are talking about, is this Stammer's last game at home? I said, I don't think it's appropriate to bring that up on this show, and they agreed. They said, no, not on this show. No, they can do it other places, but we're not going to do it here. I said, I'll do it on my show on Monday, right? This is an appropriate place to have that conversation, not on a Lightning post-game show. So, it's kind of, I understand why they brought it up, but now is the time to talk about it. And though we'll see if we get it done. All right, we'll get back to the Lightning in a little bit. We'll get to the Rays, but right now we're talking some Buccaneers with my man, Scott Reynolds from the Pewter Report. What's up, Scotty? How are you on this hump day, my friend? Hair's looking good. You're looking marvelous.
Thank you.
How are you?
Good.
How's think Liam Cohen's hair, by the way? How's the
not
the
as
new
good as Liam
Neeson's,
staff? but probably good. Yeah.
Yes, I have special.
I've had a problem, and it comes with old age, right? I'm 52 now, so I'm technically old age. I've been old age for a couple of years. I think 50 is when you hit old age. I'm not afraid to say that.
No, 50 is the new 25.
Sure, okay, whatever.
25's the new 25.
Yeah,
you're going to see Bay Area Modern Medical Center's Chris Lugo. We're all going backwards.
That helps. There's no doubt. Yeah, there's no doubt that helps for sure. But one thing I will say is I did say probably twice on our Pewter Report podcast, I've called Liam Cohen Liam Neeson.
Oh, yeah, twice. That's going to happen a lot.
I've got a funny feeling I'm going to be calling Bucks rookie 6th-round pick guard Elijah Klein. I'm going to be calling him Elijah Craig because I'm a big whiskey and bourbon guy. All right. So I'm just letting you know that's coming at some point in time. So if I throw out Elijah Craig, now you know why. So
I always revert back to little league teammates. Sometimes I'll call some guy by my little league teammate's name. They share a first or second name,
right?
And I'll throw that out, and people are like, "Who the hell are you talking about?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, you don't remember? That was my Central Appliance teammate from 1974."
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Well, for me, it's bourbon and action heroes. So
there you go.
Yeah, that's my downfall.
So before we get to the draft, I would like to get your first impressions. You got to meet with the offensive coaching staff yesterday.
Defensive coaching staff.
It was defensive yesterday. My bad.
Yeah.
So most of those guys, for
Yeah.
for any information, any new stuff.
Yeah, Vita Vea apparently has lost some weight, and usually he comes into OTAs heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes he's still heavy by the time training camp rolls around, and he uses that time much like the old NFL players used to do
to lose weight.
They wouldn't do anything during the off season except eat and party and all that stuff, and then they use that time to go ahead
and work at their insurance jobs. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And then they use that time to like skinny down and get in shape. But you really can't do that in today's modern NFL unless you're making 17.75 million a year like Vita Vea is. But Vita is actually ahead of schedule. Apparently, I haven't seen him, but texted with Logan Hall yesterday, and he said, yeah, like it's noticeable. Like he's moving really good. And Casey Rogers yesterday, the defensive line coach, said, don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but just wait till you see this guy. So that's a really good sign because Vita's 29 years old, and we've seen now over the last couple of years the soft tissue injuries, right? He wakes up, his foot hurts. He didn't really injure it. Well, why does your foot hurt? You're 365 pounds. And you're a big man. Yeah. And you're not 24 anymore. You're 29, right? So, that's something that has been a little bit of a concern for the Bucs over the last couple of years. Is Vita, do you want to play for 2 more years at a high level, or do you want to play 5 more years at a high level? Right? I mean, what do you want to do? And if you want to do the 5-year plan, like you're going to have to lose some weight. You're going to be a big guy. You're a Tongan, right? From the island of Tonga, but we'd love for you to be like at your college weight, which was 347, which is his listed weight on the roster hasn't changed since 2018.
Yeah, I love
but he's played in the 360s, sometimes bumping 370, I'm sure. And so a lighter, more nimble Vita Vea, I think, is going to be a more effective Vita Vea. And the Bucs hope will be a healthier Vita Vea because you saw the foot injury, the toe injury, the groin injury. Those are lower body injuries that are, I think, and the team thinks, a direct result of him carrying too much excess weight. So I'm curious to see what he looks like in OTAs.
Yeah, it's just physically impossible to play at that weight for many years. It just is. And so I think this is a great, and even when he played at times, because he plays through these injuries,
and
he's just out there, and you can tell when he's hurt because when he's going backwards instead of forwards, he's hurt. Because,
take for example, he missed the important game against the Falcons. The Bucs won it in a thrilling comeback, and that really was huge in their down the stretch run.
That was it. That was the whole thing.
But he missed that game, and then he was very ineffective the week before against the Panthers at home in the rain, and then he was ineffective the week after when they beat the Packers up in Green Bay. So you look at that 3-game stretch, right? He missed the Falcons game in between, and then the Panthers game before, and the Packers game after. He totaled 3 tackles and had no quarterback pressures. So that's a 3-game stretch right now where you go back and you look, and he really was ineffective due to that toe injury. And so getting this guy healthier, because when he is healthy, he is hell on wheels. And I think that's a good thing for Vita and a good thing for the Bucs moving into this year. A couple other notable things. This team is just so excited to go Jordan Whitehead back. I mean, these coaches that were there in 2020, seeing what this guy can do. Kevin Ross called him the engine of the Bucs defense. Nick Rapone is super thrilled to get him back. He's the safeties coach. He is a guy that doesn't like contact. He loves contact, and they missed his physical presence. They missed his communication ability.
Mm-hmm.
Rapone said that Whitehead and Winfield are the same guy. They're egoless players. They're incredible communicators in that secondary. And how many times do we hear Todd Bowles say, we had a communication bust, we had a communication breakdown, and now you've got 2 guys that can play traffic cop in the secondary and get the nickel and get both corners like on the same page for the same call. So there aren't those communication breakdowns, those lapses in coverage where 4 guys are doing one thing and one guy's not doing the right thing and he gets picked on. So I think that was huge. The other thing too, from a Florida State standpoint, I think of all these undrafted free agents that I've probed, people inside the building, they're most excited about Kalen DeLoach. This guy is 5'11".
He's a
210.
playmaker, man. He is a playmaker.
He can do it all in Todd Bowles' defense. He is an
Yeah.
ideal Mo linebacker. There's two linebackers. There's the Mike linebacker, which is that Devin White, KJ Britt role. Then there's what they call the money backer or the Mo backer. That's the weak side linebacker because they really run a 4-2-5.
Right.
And that's the Levante David role, to cover the tight ends, cover the backs, occasional blitzer, right? And those really that's Kalen DeLoach in a nutshell. He can do it all. He's got the pass breakups, the interceptions, the pick six. Or I should say he had a scoop and score, I believe, at Florida State.
Yeah, they won the Clemson game.
Yeah. I mean, he can blitz. There's a lot of things that they like about him. 5'11", 210. I'm telling you, and I'm not putting him in the realm of the two best linebackers.
Sounds familiar,
in
that
history.
size. Yes.
But there was a guy coming out of Florida State back in 1995 that was undersized, and a lot of teams viewed him as a safety.
Yeah,
the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Cowboys traded out of the first round. The Buccaneers traded back into the first round. Thank you, Dallas. Thank you, Jerry Jones, to get one, Mr. Derek Brooks. And he was probably about 215 coming out of Florida State. Some teams, again, viewed him as a strong safety because he wasn't that 235-pound guy. And, you know, when you use a player like that in coverage and on the weak side in kind of that chase and hit type of guy, rather than the middle linebacker, which is, you know, take on the pulling guard, take on, you know, the fullback, have to stack and shed. When you can have that guy, you know, Brooks played about 220. Levante David's 220. The expectation for Kalen DeLoach will be to eventually get to 215 and then hopefully to 220. We'll see if he makes the team. They didn't draft an inside linebacker this year. That helps his cause. But with 4.47 speed, this guy, I think, has a chance to really shine in special teams. He's a headhunter.
Yeah.
He might be a really, really interesting sleeper that they like. And Larry Foote's pretty hot about him.
I think he's going to find his way on the field with that speed, and I think he can also be used as a pass rusher.
Yep.
Very versatile, and that's what they love, the versatility on defense, because when you got guys out there, that means the offense doesn't know what they're going to do. He could rush the passer. He could go into coverage. He could do a lot of different things. Yeah. So, and that's what you're always looking for, playmakers and guys with instincts. And if you watched him play at Florida State, and I have watched every play, he's got instincts. He goes where the ball is, and that stuff you can't teach. And I was kind of surprised he wasn't drafted. I know it's
size.
It's the size, and that's
5'11", 210. You know,
those undersized guys, Rondé, Derek. You know, those are the ones that become huge surprises.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is when you look at the best Buccaneers of all time, it's not the Adonis-looking guy, right? I mean, it's you mentioned those guys: Derek Brooks, undersized; Rondé Barber, too short, too slow. Yeah. Warren Sapp. You know, if you look at Warren Sapp, you think, you know, athletic fat guy, right? I mean, short, you know, 6 foot guy. Mike Allstott, slow, you know, white running back. I mean, it's just so many great Buccaneers. Like legends that just haven't fit the prototype, the mold. You know,
Lynch was too slow to be a safety. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, John Lynch too slow to be safety. So the Buccaneers have a history of finding these types of players and then them having really good careers,
the Hall of Fame careers.
Yeah. So the other thing too, Tyke Smith just comes in, knows how to win. Right, they lost one game at Georgia last year as a close game. You know, to Alabama in the SEC championship game. The year before, they're undefeated, national champions. The year before that, they lost one game. They were national champions. So he comes in expecting to win. He's got that winner mindset. We were so high on Tyke Smith. I think he appeared in a couple of our mock drafts. We had him as a Bucks best bet. First time I shouldn't say first time. First time I saw this guy was back at West Virginia when he was in the Big 12 and starting as a freshman. Safety, transferred to Georgia. I follow a lot of Georgia, games. As you know, my wife Ashley's from Georgia, so that's like my second team. And out of all the guys they interviewed at the combine formally, Tyke Smith, Javon Bullard, who went ahead of Smith in the second round, and then Kwame Lassiter, the cornerback. This guy just screamed Todd Bowles DB, you know. And I know Todd Bowles loved him because I had conversations with Coach prior to the draft, and that was his guy. And I think this guy is a professional. He comes in as a pro player already, being in that Kirby Smart system. He can play nickel. He can play safety. The versatility. He can blitz from the slot. He's a ball hawk, 4 interceptions last year. He has a little bit of Ronde in him in terms of just being around the ball. The ball finds him, right? Forced fumbles, hard hitter, sure tackler like Winfield. He's going to be a star, man. I think their 3rd-round picks, Tyke Smith and then Jalen McMillan, who the only thing that kept him out of the 2nd round was just missing 4 games with a knee injury. That caused his production to dip. He was the leading receiver at Washington above Roma Dunze in 2022. Yeah. More catches, more touchdowns, a few less yards. But it was really his injuries that allowed Jalen Polk to kind of become that de facto number 2 receiver. He was number 3 by default. But then you know what? He comes back from that injury, still not 100%. He's the 100-yard receiver for Washington in the Pac-12 championship game against Oregon. Yep. He's the guy that caught one of 2 Penix touchdowns to beat Texas. He's the guy that caught the lone touchdown against Michigan in the national championship game. So the Bucs feel like they got an incredible steal in Jalen McMillan, and this guy gives off some Chris Godwin vibes. Different players. Godwin's a little bit more physical, a little bit bigger. But when Chris Godwin was drafted in the 3rd round in 2017, it was like, oh, that's an interesting pick. Oh, that's a nice pick. And Godwin completely exceeded his draft round status, right? 4,000-yard seasons, Pro Bowler, Super Bowl champion. And I think that McMillan can also exceed his 3rd-round draft status the way that Chris Godwin did. Wow. I think he eventually replaces Godwin in the slot, and he's going to be a 1,000-yard receiver, probably a really, really good wide receiver 2 for this team for future years. But he's special, man. This guy's a good route runner, good hands, solid receiver.
Scott, how excited do you think these coaches are about Chris Braswell to get him in the 2nd round? We've heard, nothing but good things, but also a raw prospect. What do you make of Braswell and the coach's excitement in the presser yesterday?
I mean, they're super excited about him because he's a physical finisher, and I think that's something that JTS has proven not to be. All right, Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. This guy, when he gets to the quarterback goes down, and he goes down hard. He gets the ball out, and that's one thing this team really wants more of is turnovers, takeaways. They need more interceptions in the secondary. They need more fumbles from the front 7. And when you get to the quarterback, get the ball out. We saw Yaya Diaby's evolution as a pass rusher, right? He went from getting his first sack as a chase guy, chased Josh Allen out of bounds for a 2-yard loss. That was his first sack. It still counts, but it's not how you envision your first sack being. You want to beat the tackle and crush the quarterback. And that happened in that 49ers game, 2 sacks, right? Where he was beating the tackle one-on-one, getting the quarterback down. Then we saw that evolution continue against Jacksonville on Christmas Eve. The sack, forced fumble recovery, right? The trifecta against Trevor Lawrence. And I think Braswell comes with more polish to the Buccaneers. Yeah. He had 3 sack fumbles, including one against the Tennessee quarterback, Joe Milton, for example.
Way more college production.
Yeah, and it's like this is a guy that really was only a 1-year starter, but 8 sacks, 3 forced fumbles. He had a pick 6 dropping in coverage. That suits Todd Bowles' defense really well. Remember in the Super Bowl year, JPP had 2 picks, even one with a bum hand. I mean, he had 2 interceptions. We've seen Shaq Barrett have a couple interceptions in some seasons. Touchdown. So it's an important thing to do some zone dropping. It confuses the quarterback sometimes, and it can create takeaways. But those sack fumbles are important. And this is a player that went up against J.C. Latham every day in practice at Alabama that learned behind Will Anderson Jr. and Dallas Turner for the last couple of years, right? I mean, these are SEC defensive players of the year and back-to-back years, both All-Americans and both first-round picks. So
I love I think it was Adam Salon that did that interview at the Senior Bowl. Yeah. You guys posted that. I loved. If you guys haven't seen that, go watch that interview. Yeah. He's a polished pro already. He's like he's Nick Saban. Like he created this young man, and he is all business. He is all football. Very mature, super smart leader, and those traits are littered throughout this class. Are they not?
Yeah, and you're right. And one of the things the Buccaneers really liked about him is they asked him, they're like, all right, Chris, I mean, you're stuck behind Will Anderson Jr. and Dallas Turner for years. Why didn't you think about leaving the program and chasing some NIL dollars and, making a name for yourself earlier and becoming a starter? And he's like, I love Alabama. Like, I love my teammates. Like I go against Latham every day.
Is that loyalty?
That is loyalty. I go against Latham every day. I'm learning behind two of the best in college football, two future possible Pro Bowl players with these guys. I'm playing for Nick Saban. Why would I want to leave?
Exactly.
And you know what? That's so important, because when your team is 4-7 and you've had the ball not bounce your way and you've played crappy football and your coach is on the hot seat. And what did Todd Bowles constantly say to the media? As that 4-7 record materialized, we got the guys in the building that can turn this thing around. And you want players that will stay and fight rather than run from the fight.
Right.
And that's what ingratiated guys like Chris Braswell to the Buccaneers. Guys that stay, and same thing with Graham Barton, right? I mean, this is a blue chip offensive lineman at Duke who could have gone elsewhere as a junior or a senior, chase that NIL money. Mm-hmm. And he's like, why would I want to leave Duke? Like, I love my teammates. I love Duke, love the coaching staff. They want these loyal guys that will stick it out and stay and fight and say, I want to be here. Not the Devin White types, man. Right? We saw Devin White chase that NIL money last offseason when he was asking for a trade. He wanted out. And then you know what? He really wasn't that much of a part of the Bucs turnaround at the end of the season, because he was benched for that Packers game. And then KJ Britt started getting more and more playing time. And outside of, he did have a good game against Jacksonville. I'll give him that. But he didn't play much against the Lions in that final playoff game. And that's the type of character the Buccaneers want. The Graham Bartons, the Chris Braswells, the Jalen McMillans, who, hey, I'll wait my turn. I don't have to be the top dog.
Right.
Penix has got Roma Dunze, Jalen McMillan, Devin Culp, Jack Westover to throw the ball to.
Right.
When my number's called, I'll make it count. And you know what?
So important.
It is important. And that's going to give him, I think, the edge over Trey Palmer, because Trey Palmer has got a lot of ability. I think he still has a role in this team. He'll probably be wide receiver 3 to start things off, as he should. But we saw Trey Palmer have lapses in concentration, have some drops, have some fumbles. And if he's not on his P's and Q's every time, Jalen McMillan will come in and be ready to catch the ball and make yards and not turn it over.
Nothing makes you focus like competition, baby.
That's right.
Somebody's barking at the back door.
That's right.
You will play your best football, and that's what you want.
That's exactly what you want.
Iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about maybe the guy that we're going to be talking about in preseason, because we're probably going to get a lot of touches. He's going to make a lot of people miss, and that's Bucky Irving.
Yeah.
This kid is electric. I went and watched his film, and he's going to be a weapon out of the backfield. Yeah. Nobody wants to be one-on-one in space with him. I like his build. He reminds me of a little bit of taller Darren Sproles. I mean, he's thick and he's not – his straight line speed is not anything to write home about. Correct. But he's quick in space, and that's what you want in a back. Yeah. I love – people is like, well, why didn't we get a banger? I'm like, bangers are just big targets. By the way,
he's a big back good in trapped in a little body. Yeah, that's just what he is.
Yeah,
he's an angry runner.
Because they're not tall.
Yes.
Doesn't mean they're not, hard to tackle. Those are to me, you talk to defenders, they want no part of these short, stocky guys.
Correct.
They break your knees.
Yeah.
So I love this cat. Talk about it.
He's really interesting. He is a big back trapped in a little back's body. It gives me the way he runs between the tackles with a fearlessness. He reminds me a little bit of Warwick Dunn. He's got about 10, 12 pounds on Dunn. Dunn was even smaller guy. Yeah. And I think Dunn had more top end speed, right?
Yeah.
So, but I do like the Darren Sproles comparison. He's not as quick and shifty and nimble, but between those two guys, you kind of have Bucky Irving. And it's not – I've really changed my mindset on running backs in the NFL over the last decade. It is not about speed. It really isn't.
No.
It's not about the 70-yarder. It's about the 17-yarder, okay? 17-yard runs in the NFL are great runs, and NFL coaches will take them all day long. You rarely see the 70-yarders in the NFL.
Right.
You rarely do. Okay. I think on most teams, if you look, even with great running backs, if you look, they might have 2 or 3 runs over 40 yards, right, in a given season. And that's to be expected. It's more about what you do. It's the 7-yarder, it's the 17-yarder rather than
absolutely
the 70-yarder. And if you can produce those and get an average around 5-6 yards a carry, like that's dynamite. And they brought Bucky Irving in for a top 30 visit. And they said, what's your best quality? He's like, the first guy didn't bring me down.
Right.
Now, most running backs don't like to be tackled. That's a given. Right. This guy hates to be tackled. He fights and twists and turns. He's like a little bit of a Tasmanian devil out there on the field. And his film speaks for itself, right? I mean, you look at the RAS score and you're like, it's like a 2.2. It's awful. You didn't test well. Fine. He's a football player. This is that guy that's Mike. He's Mike Allstott. He's Rondé Barber. He's Derek Brooks, in the fact that he doesn't fit that conventional mold. He's not exactly what you're looking for. He's not like the Mr. Measurable, right? But those guys, the Savvy Piscatellis, the Quincy Blacks, the Joe Tryon-Schwinkas, those are the guys that just aren't football players. They lack the instincts. They lack that special quality.
They look good in the uniform.
They look good. Yep.
But
as John Gruden would say, man, you want to take those guys to the beach, man. The Michael
like
Pitt,
Tarzan, play like Jane.
That's right. And so with Bucky, 56 catches, he can catch the ball out of the backfield. I just love him as a runner. I think this guy can really be a nice change of pace. 11 touchdowns last year. He proved to be a little bit of a goal line banger. And sometimes you can kind of squirt through the holes because you're so low with the center of gravity that you don't have to be, like you said, that 6 foot, 225-pound running back to be effective on the goal line. So you can be like the nail gun rather than the hammer. Yeah. And I think this guy is more like a nail gun. He just kind of just shoots through there. And it's still an effective way to drive that nail in. And so I think for the 4th round, it's exactly where he was graded. I don't think Jason Light reached for any player. I think that he stayed true to the draft board. Now, there are a couple of guys they missed out on. They really liked Marshawn Lloyd, the USC running back. They were going to draft him, and the Packers drafted him 1 spot ahead in the 3rd round. And so sometimes you don't always get what you want. In the 7th round, too, they drafted Devin Culp, the tight end out of Washington, who's more of a measurables guy, really was lower on the hierarchy, the totem pole in terms of catches and yards at Washington, but 4.47 speed for like kind of a Jaheim Bell type, undersized type tight end. But they were going to draft a quarterback. They were going to draft Tulane's Michael Pratt in the 7th round. And again, the Packers, 1 spot ahead of him, took Pratt. So we would have had another quarterback to talk about in Tampa Bay had that not happened.
What does that say about Kyle Trask then if they were looking to draft a quarterback at that point?
Well, I mean, they don't know about Kyle Trask. He hasn't played. He sits behind old man Tom Brady, who didn't miss a single game, right, in 3 years in Tampa. Then Baker Mayfield comes and wins the starting job, and he doesn't miss a game. He's tough. He's gritty. So you just don't know, right? And so it's going to be interesting to see what happens next year with Kyle Trask. I mean, I think that he'll be the backup again this year. I don't think John Wolford's going to be the number 2. And I hope that Kyle Trask plays really, really well and it continues to ascend in the preseason. This is a different offense, but there are some similarities. It shouldn't be too much of a stretch for him to digest this playbook. There's going to be some similar concepts, just some different formations and personnel groupings, really. But at the same time, a slant's a slant, a go's a go, a dig's a dig. I mean, he's throwing those passes. It's the same types of passes to the same receiving core with a few new additions. But I think with Trask, it's going to be interesting to see, does he feel some comfortability here with the Buccaneers? And does he want to continue to stay and maybe, hope to eventually be that successor to Baker Mayfield? Or will he just say, I'm done here. I need to change the scenery. I've been a backup behind, these guys for 4 years now. And I haven't had a chance to play and I want to have a chance to go somewhere. I don't think that he's got much of a market. I think it'll be a cheap 1-year deal, whether it's in Tampa or elsewhere. But maybe he looks at the situation and says, I want to go to a spot where I have more of a chance to get on the field. And we'll see what happens in 2024. But at the same time, I don't think it would preclude the Buccaneers from drafting another quarterback to throw in the mix. Probably not in the 1st round like the Falcons did.
Thank you,
But,
Michael Penix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Well, I know you got to get rolling, right? So
I can hang out for a few more minutes.
okay.
If you want. Yeah.
Well, I was going to ask you about the Falcons and the division in general. I mean, if you look across the board, most people that were doing draft grades gave everybody else in the division a poor grade. And I think when you look at what they've done, what Atlanta did, and again, I love, as you do, Michael Penix. Great.
Yep.
I think he's going to be a great quarterback in this league when he gets his opportunity.
Yes.
But where's the continuity of attack here in Atlanta? You knew you had the 8th overall pick. Why did you go sign Kirk Cousins? They think of the players that they could have gotten for that money and brought in to affect their pass rush, defensive back, all that stuff.
Sure.
And then it's just what Atlanta could have on their roster right now, as opposed to what they have it's a joke, really.
Yeah.
So your thoughts on what Atlanta did?
I love the Falcons draft really outside of the Penix pick. And of course the Penix pick, that's the big one, right? Because that's your first round pick. It
could have been Dallas Turner.
Could have been Dallas Turner. Should have been Dallas Turner, right?
Tristan Wirfs is the happiest person.
Or Liatu Latu, right? I mean, get an edge rusher. Now, the Falcons, I love Rook Ororo. He is the defensive tackle out of Clemson in the second round. The Bucs loved him too.
Yeah.
The Bucs were actually going to draft the defensive tackle in the second round. There was just a run on him. Chris Jenkins went. Braden Fisk went. There was like 7 defensive tackles that went early in the second round. Rook Ororo from Clemson led that off early in the second round. But the Falcons really bolstered their defense after that. They got Rook Ororo. They got Braylon Trice, who new defensive coordinator Jimmy Lake, who was the head coach and defensive coordinator at Washington, knows really well. He's one of the Huskies, one of the few Huskies the Buccaneers haven't drafted.
Right.
Brandon Dorlus from Oregon is a really good defensive lineman as well. The end of the draft with Zion Logue from Georgia. So they got 4 defensive linemen. They really have to revamp that. Grady Jarrett's getting up there. Calais Campbell's gone. They have David Onyemata, who's starting to get up there in age as well. So I like what they did there. J.D. Bertrand, inside linebacker, not a huge fan out of Notre Dame. Jace McClellan's an interesting running back from Alabama. He's not as good as the Bama backs that they've had lately. But the problem with that Falcons draft, because I think it's pretty solid after Michael Penix, is you almost have to root against Kirk Cousins to like that pick. Yeah. Because ideally, you want Kirk Cousins to play. You want Kirk Cousins to deliver a championship. You want Kirk Cousins to stay healthy and justify all the money that you've put in him. And if that's the case, then Michael Penix is sitting for at least 2 years, if not 3. And then you're in a Kyle Trask situation where you think you might have a guy, but you may not know if you have a guy. And then when he finally sees the field, is he Trey Lance or is he Jordan Love? Right. And you don't know, but you're kind of like fooled and lulled into that thinking. And I mean, the 49ers completely lucked out by taking Brock Purdy, right? Because they've gone through Jimmy Garoppolo, Trey Lance.
That wasn't a stroke of genius.
Yeah, exactly. And if they didn't have Brock Purdy, the 49ers might not be a playoff team, certainly not a Super Bowl participant, right?
Right.
So that's the thing. And with Penix, I do like his game. I do trust Bruce Arians in terms of his evaluation. He likes Penix a lot, but he loves Penix. But Penix didn't play that well at the Senior Bowl. Like that week in Mobile, he didn't have great practices, right? Bo Nix didn't either. It was really Spencer Rattler was the guy that shined down there. So that, if you're the number 8 overall pick, you should go into that environment and kind of light it up. And so then it kind of begs the question: Rome Odunze, Jalen Polk, Jalen McMillan. You've got 3 1,000-yard receivers to throw to. Right. You have 2 NFL caliber tight ends in Westover and Culp. You've got an NFL caliber back in Dylan Johnson they hand off to, and you've got 2 NFL tackles at Washington. I mean, that's a huge supporting cast. How much of it was Penix, and how much of it was that supporting cast?
Well, you watch him throw. He throws great.
He throws great, but he's also throwing to guys that know how to get open, that do catch the ball, right? And at Indiana, he was kind of a one-man gang, and we saw the results there. And Indiana's Indiana.
He was good Washington. Though. That's the only time they've ever had any success at Indy. It was when he was the quarterback.
Yes, and I'm not knocking. I'm just, is he a
you don't know
top 10 pick? Is he that good of a quarterback? You don't know, right? And like Johnny Manziel, right? Heisman Trophy winner. He was Mr. Electric. He was Mr. Football, Johnny Football at Texas A&M. And we found out quickly Mike Evans had a lot more to do with Johnny Football's success than Johnny Football did, right?
That's right.
We found that out. And you know what? Maybe Kyle Pitts and Drake London and Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier, maybe they are that Washington supporting cast that makes Penix shine. But maybe we don't find out for a couple of years too.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know, how will he develop as a number two?
Yeah. I actually liked the Panthers draft a little bit for what Dave Canales was doing. I don't agree with where he got some of these players.
Mm-hmm.
I think Xavier Leggette's going to be a formidable foe in the NFC South. I don't know that it had a first round grade on him per se, but he's a very, very good, talented wide receiver. Speed, size, he's got it all. Jonathan Brooks, when healthy, I think can be a workhorse back. They need that in Carolina. Jatavion Sanders is a good receiving tight end at Texas. Trevin Wallace is a player I really like, the inside linebacker out of Kentucky, very fast and athletic, kind of like a poor man's Devin White, but without the head case.
Right.
So it was all about getting Bryce Young some weapons so he can maybe live up to that draft potential. I still am not sold on Bryce Young being an elite quarterback. I don't think that's the case, but he's got more help now, and that's a good thing. The Saints, I just don't think the Saints are good at drafting. I just don't. I think they're one of the worst drafting teams. Fuaga is an okay pick, but Trevor Penning last year was a disaster in terms of their first round left tackle. I don't think he's that good. Kool-Aid McKinstry, not a fan. Just don't think he's that good of a corner. Spencer Rattler, probably I think my favorite pick, and he's a fifth rounder. We'll see if he ends up being better than Derek Carr. I think he's a little bit of a scrappy gamer, but turns the ball over a lot. Bub Means, Jalen Ford, Christian Boyd, Josiah Ezrin, maybe Boyd as a 6th round defensive tackle, kind of as a surprise player. I think the Saints are on their last gasp. Some of these older players that they keep hanging on to, the Marshawn Lattimore's, the Cam Jordans, the Tyrann Matthews, the DeMario Davises, they're getting older, not better. Their salaries are the Saints
quarterback is average.
The quarterback is average. And I think the Saints are heading towards the cliff, and they're about to have a major fall. Dennis Allen is not the guy.
No.
And I can't wait to see it because I really don't like the Saints.
I think that as you go to this draft, you're thinking, the Falcons have an opportunity here to overtake the Bucs in terms of roster. Yeah. I think they were already pretty close. I mean, they've got some really good players on that roster.
Yeah.
But they instead of, I understand the future, but the future for the Bucs is now. All right. Yeah. And they're trying to win now. And we thought the Falcons were too. Yeah. But the first pick doesn't say that. And it's so I think the pendulum swings back to the Bucs. Sal Powell said, as long as Baker Mayfield is here, they're the leaders in the NFC South. And I think nothing changed. I think the Bucs got better. I don't know if the Falcons did.
If you're Raheem Morris, a defensive-minded head coach, and you've been a head coach exactly twice. Pick. Okay, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You've been a head coach twice now in this league. And your first-round picks as head coaches in Tampa Bay and Atlanta are Josh Freeman and Michael Penix. Okay, I'm sorry, Raheem. I'm sorry, Raheem. We'll see. Maybe Penix eventually is that guy. But yeah, I think for winning it right now, they needed an impact pass rusher. They needed somebody to really give Kirk Cousins some help on the other side of the ball.
That's right.
Yep. And at the same time, too, it's like we have to remember Zach Robinson will be a first-time play caller, right?
Yep.
There's going to be some learning curves there.
Yep.
Even coming from the Rams, I think Liam Cohen has a leg up on him. I think Liam Cohen has a leg up on Dave Canales because he's called plays for a couple of years, even in the SEC. I still count that. Plus, a handful of games with the Rams late in the 2022 season with Baker Mayfield as his quarterback, by the way. And then you've got Jimmy Lake, who will be a first-time defensive coordinator in the NFL. He's had a lot of success. I know Jimmy personally. I love the guy. He's great. One of the best defensive backs coaches ever, whether it was at Washington or here in Tampa Bay in 2 stints, one under Gruden and then one under Raheem. So, but again, first time.
A lot of new stuff.
A lot of new stuff.
I hope we catch them early in the schedule too.
Yeah, for all these NFL pundits that are penciling in the Falcons just like they did the Saints last year.
Exactly.
It just you're
The Bucks
amping
have
up.
proven they can win.
You're
You know,
amping
it's
up
not-
one Buccaneer place. Like these guys are
Oh yeah,
pissed
you
off.
love that. You love that.
I mean, like they're hitting the weight room right now, and this is, I guarantee you, this is the I know it because I've talked to players. It is the conversation. They're talking about the Falcons just like they talked about the Saints last year, right? This is still the Bucks still run this division, and you know, if you want to crown them right now and make them the paper champions, like that's fine. Football doesn't start until September in earnest, but right now in the weight room, these guys have that disrespect on their mind. The underdog mentality is still alive and well at the team facility. And right now they're hitting the weights and they're running, man. And they're thinking about proving everybody wrong.
And that's not going to change. It's going to every poll, every national poll I've seen, power rankings, everything. The Bucks are in the 20s. Nobody cares about them. It's total disrespect. Excellent. It's right where you want to be because it means nothing. All right, Scotty, promote what you guys got going on this week at the Pewter Report. 2 more podcasts in the offseason. We do these Pewter Report podcasts at 4 o'clock, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Today, we're talking about what the Bucks secondary coaches had to say. There's going to be some shakeups in the secondary this year. There could be 3 new starters out of 5. Mm-hmm.
So a lot of interesting stuff.
That's a good thing.
It is a good thing. A lot of interesting things the defensive coaches had to say about that. We'll have those interviews as well as our analysis on today's podcast at 4 o'clock. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about the NFC South, grading all of the NFC South drafts. And did the Buccaneers come out on top? They did. But you can watch that show at 4 o'clock.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert, yeah. And you can do all of that at Pewter Report TV. That's our YouTube channel. You can also follow us on X and Facebook and Instagram at Pewter Report. And at pewterreport.com, I think we already have 4 stories up today. So if you're a big Buccaneer fan, check out pewterreport.com for all of the Bucs news. We're going to have rookie minicamp next Thursday. So it's coming up quickly.
Looking forward to that.
And then OTAs right after that. We're going to see these actual Buccaneers. We're going to see exactly how much weight Vita Vea has lost. And we'll do that in short order here with OTAs coming up later in May.
The NFL is a full season proposition. So
it is. Get
your vacation request in July because that's all you get. All right, partner. Appreciate you as always. Thank you very much. We'll be watching.
Peter, JP, thank you.
Yep. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Yeah, that's the thing. You look at the division first. You got to win the division first. And there's nobody. You look at some other teams and how they improved this in the offseason and the draft. I mean, there's teams that have really made some moves. The Jets have made moves. The teams that have, obviously the Bears are really improved, but in their roster, they'll somehow find a way to screw it up. But you just seen teams getting better and better and better. And I didn't see anybody in this entire offseason that got better in the NFC South, except the Bucs. I think the Bucs got better. I think they made a lot of shrewd moves in free agency, even though they, keeping your own guys. That's it. Continuity wins in this league, man. Continuity wins. You got, it's like you got like the Eagles. You're trading out a back. You get in Saquon, but you're getting rid of DeAndre Swift, who was equally as productive. I mean, so you got to get used to new guy, new terminology, new everything. That doesn't make you a better football team. It just doesn't. Continuity wins in this league, and the Bucs have kept their band together, and that's why nobody talks about them. There's no splashes. I mean, if Mike Evans went and signed with somebody, right? They'd be, they got Mike Evans. Well, we got Mike Evans. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
He's playing for the. Why is that not? We got Antoine Winfield Jr. We got him. He's
right.
If the Bucs brought in these guys, everybody'd be going, "Oh my God! Look at the haul the Bucs got in free agency." I mean,
they got Jordan Whitehead, by the way, which
they get Jordan Whitehead.
Yeah.
I mean,
nobody's talking about that. That's an under the radar thing.
If you look at what time is it? Let's go ahead and take a quick break. When we come back, I want to go through where the Bucs are now, how they addressed every one of their needs in this offseason and what the resources that they allocated. So we'll talk about that. We're brought to you by the great folks at the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. If you have any issues with an insurance company, if you've been in an accident, get the folks that are going to fight hard for you, and they are local. Scott Jeeves has an office in St. Pete and in Tampa, supports all these local charities. So keep it local. They know the local landscape of law enforcement and the judges and all those things. That's important when your case goes to trial. The Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. And Hydrate Heroes, we are always presented by the great folks at Hydrate Heroes. Stay with us. JP here for my friends at your local Synovus Bank. And I do mean friends, and I do mean local. One of the local managers in Tampa is John Acosta, big fan of the show, and I've known him for over 40 years. He's been in local banking since 1983. You talk about developing relationships. You don't stick around for that long unless you're doing things the right way and have a great reputation. And that's the focus company-wide at Synovus. Big enough to handle any complex international transaction, but small enough to answer the phone when you have an urgent question about your business or personal account. And for personal accounts, they have a very easy app that works great. You can do everything online. And for large or small businesses, you will get that personal touch and services to help build your business, taking your dreams and aspirations from the whiteboard to reality. We can make that happen. Let us show you how. For a Get Acquainted meeting to open a business or personal account, just call John or go to Synovus.com to find out where your local branch is. Everyone knows Italiano Insurance is your go-to for home insurance, but they also have an amazing team that focuses on business insurance. Yes, your business is most likely your biggest asset, so make sure you have the right coverage at the most competitive price. And if you started a side hustle recently, don't forget you need business insurance, because if you get sued in this over-litigious society we live in, you could lose all your personal wealth. So get that business insurance. And for the best customer service, always choose Italiano. My representative, Charity, is amazing. I called her late on a Friday because my insurance was going to lapse. She stayed late until the job was done. You just don't find that anymore. Give them a call, 813-877-7799. That's 813-877-7799. Italiano Insurance. JP here for the Geddes Gordon Real Estate Group and our good friend Jane Geddes. Folks, simply put, there is nobody like Jane. Jane is a former LPGA two-time major championship winner. She was also vice president of talent relations at WWE. She also has a law degree from Stetson. So if Jane can drain a 10-footer to win the U.S. Open and stare down Hulk Hogan in the boardroom, you want Jane on your real estate team to not only negotiate the best deal, but find you the perfect home or investment property. And when you work with the Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of the real estate family and get concierge services that include expertly staging, marketing, and preparing your home for sale. Advice on golf properties. Hey, you might even get some golf tips. Many of their clients become friends long after the sale or purchase is completed. It's all part of the deal. So if you're looking for that perfect home or investment property or try to get top dollar for your home, go with Jane Geddes and the Geddes Gordon Group, because there's nobody like Jane. Call 813-485-6808 or go to geddesgordon.kw.com. That's GEDDES Gordon.kw.com. or call 813-485-6808.
With over 34 years of producing small and large events, Extravaganza Productions is truly a Tampa treasure when it comes to creating some of the very best events in Tampa and all across the United States. I've worked with them at the Florida Sports Hall of Fame inductions, the Warrior Games, which was an Olympic-sized event spread across all of Tampa Bay. They are the very best, from small meetings to exceptionally large corporate conferences to galas, fundraisers, sporting events, grand openings, whatever you want. Team EPI has an extremely talented staff of designers and show producers that develop extraordinary events fueled by the visions of their clients. You can reach them at their Tampa headquarters at 813-621-4700 or go to extravaganzaproductions.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at Hydrate Heroes. Get yourself some Hydrate Heroes, and it's free. TryHydrateHeroes.com is the website. Just go there, and you'll get a 3-sample pack that they'll send to you for absolutely free. And you can try it, try the great flavors. It's absolutely fantastic, and it's no sugar, no caffeine, none of the bad stuff that you'll find in a lot of these other hydration drinks, folks. Just good stuff like vitamin D, amla fruit, all the electrolytes you need in there. It has really transformed the way I feel. I feel I get more energy. My joint pain has disappeared since I started doing Hydrate Heroes. Not exactly sure how that works, but my knees feel like so much better. I my shoulder, but hydration helps that. And there's a lot of essential things in there that help you. So go to tryhydrateheroes.com, tryhydrateheroes.com. They'll send you, just sign up right there. They'll email you, or they'll send you in the mail, a free 3-pack to try. Just go ahead and order something. Get your 30-pack for $29.99. That's less than $1 a serving. Think of what you're paying for those Gatorade bottles and some of this other stuff that are just full of sugar and nasty stuff. And a lot of these energy drinks, folks, are just not good for you. Hydrate Heroes is where it's at. So go get your free sample pack. Try hydrateheroes.com. Want to get to some of the comments. And also, as I teased, what the Bucks did in the offseason, there's a lot of things that are in our comments that were kind of dovetail with that. Let's go to Kevin Simichek. Good to see you in here. And I'm glad Carlton Davis III is gone. I think Carlton Davis and Devin White were two guys that stood out as outsiders from the culture.
Yep.
I don't know, what exactly happened to Carlton. He was a really, really good player. And once he got paid, things seemed to go downhill. Maybe it was just injuries. Nice dude. Wish him the best in Detroit, but I'm glad he's gone. I'm glad Devin White is gone. And this is a culture thing that is, I just think the Bucks have a great culture, or building a great culture. Get those guys out of the room.
Well, White didn't want to be here after the trade request. I mean, he wasn't interested, whether it was injury or lack of effort, more than anything else. It was lack of effort. Carlton Davis just couldn't stay on the field. I mean, we know the potential was there, but that's the reason why he got a 3rd-round pick. And, oh, by the way, you used that 3rd-round pick on a wide receiver who, is going to complement an Evans and a Godwin and, eventually may replace a Godwin. I'm not sure if that's going to happen or not. I hope it doesn't happen. I hope they can keep everybody in that locker room. But, made a lot of sense to trade him because he couldn't stay on the field. And, that back end is a lot of movement, a lot of fluidity, if you will, going on this year. So, and oh, by the way, open phone calls if you want to call up 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391 on WATB Sports. Your page, my page there, just blowing up right now.
You're on Instagram today too, right? All right.
On Instagram Live, yes. I'm in charge. I got this, my friend. I wrote it down. I got a new printer, by the way, so I didn't have to write everything down.
Wow, that's even better. Look at that. Look at you.
Yeah, absolutely. The other one just went out, burned out because I was printing so much.
There you go. Rick says the Bucks better hope Trask never plays. They know what he's about. I don't know about. Nobody knows what he's about yet because he's not played. Javier Rodriguez says Braswell was a steal as well. I think he was too. I think he's going to be a very productive player in this defense. What else we got here? Kevin also says I was not shocked we let Devin White go. It was coming. His production dropped a bit. Yeah, if you listen to this show, you knew that was coming. And it should have happened a long time. They should have traded him before the season. We were begging them to trade him before the season. Rick says Penix will get all first-team reps while Kirk rehabs. Players will see it. Some divided locker room. Need hard knocks there. Oh, yeah. That would be good.
That would be great.
Yeah, they'd be eligible. They'd definitely be eligible.
Did you see the owner? I mean, I know his name is Author Blank, but his face was blank there with the selection. I think he was surprised by that. And then you have the general manager coming out and saying, well, we could sit this guy 4 or 5 years.
Dumbest thing ever.
23 years old. He'll be 28 when he starts. You just paid $180 million total.
Terry Fontenot has no effing idea what he's doing.
I love Penix, but you had other needs there, JP. You could have gone with an offensive lineman. You could have gone with an edge rusher. What are you doing?
Well, it's the signing of Kirk Cousins. It starts with that.
Yeah.
You could have got Justin Fields for nothing.
Yeah.
And like younger, more athletic. Obviously he doesn't have put up the yards that Kirk Cousins has, but he's won one less playoff game than Kirk Cousins, and it would have cost you nothing. And then you'd have Michael Penix if you wanted to draft him. And you could have spent all that money on Danielle Hunter and all these other defensive players, free agents, and brought them in to improve your defense. Thank God Terry Fontenot has no idea what he's doing. Yeah.
That's the biggest surprise of the night. And I love Penix. I think he could be possibly the best quarterback in this draft when all's said and done. But was that the position you go with? Not in my opinion. And this is just the Atlanta Falcons being the Atlanta Falcons. And this is why you have to take your money and put it in the center of the table for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win the NFC South because of this draft by the Falcons, missing out on a golden opportunity to get an offensive lineman that will solidify your line, a defensive lineman like a Dallas Turner or a Latu. I don't know what they're doing. They've done it throughout the years, taking offensive players instead of taking defensive players, and it has not helped them. That is the reason why they're going to continue to be second or third best in this division going forward.
Yep, I agree. And when you look at what the needs were for the Buccaneers in this offseason, they needed to beef up their interior offensive line. So they went and got Opeta and the guy from the Giants, whose name I can never remember. So they got 2 veterans, bigger guys that can play left guard. Robert Hainsey can also play left guard. You went out and got Graham Barton as a center. So now you've got Cody Mauch, who should improve, I think, dramatically in his second year. I saw him the other day at the All-Star event, and he looks bigger to me. He looks bigger, thicker. He's getting his man strength. So he's going to add weight and be better. You get Graham Barton, who dramatically improves your team at the center position immediately. He's a mature guy. He's ready to play. He steps right in. And then at left guard, you got one of these veterans that you signed in the offseason. So I think your main goal was to improve that interior line, and I think you hit a home run with that. You got Elijah Klein, too, the kid from UTEP, who thinks a lot of people think is a steal in the draft. He may be able to step right in at left guard, and you become dramatically better within the middle. They needed to get better at defensive back, and I think that, with getting Jordan Whitehead – and the other corner, whose name I'm forgetting right now, they brought the guy. What's his name? The other corner that they signed from the Texans.
Thomas, I believe.
Yeah.
I can't think of his name either.
Anyway, so they bring in some veterans there, and I think Zion McCullum better than Carlton Davis because he's going to be available. And I just think he's a better player. His time has come. His measurables are off the chart: speed, size, everything. Jamel Dean, I think he's a good player. He's not a great player. He's a good player. And so I think you're better in the secondary. Jordan Whitehead makes you incredibly better in the secondary. Offensively, we mentioned the interior line. You get some weapons now. You get an outside receiver that I think can really be productive with Jalen McMillan. You get a running back who's explosive and can make people miss. So I think you have gone out in free agency and you got your guys back, and you've improved everywhere you needed to improve. And as a pass rusher, you get Braswell. I think he's going to be a huge upgrade on JTS, and not just as a pass rusher, but as a run stuffer as well. Just a better overall player. So I think across the board, you've got better. Oh, and Tyke Smith. There's another piece in the secondary that's a versatile piece that's going to hit you, has great ball instincts. So you have got everything you needed to get to improve specifically. You brought in players that can do that. Now, if these guys don't, do they develop into it? That's up to the coaching staff, right? But right now, I think you look at this offseason and how they've addressed all their needs. They've gotten some really, really good players, whether in free agency and of course, they didn't have a whole lot of cap room to go out and get, some huge pass rusher, right? Mm. So I just think they dramatically improved those areas that were deficient. And that's what you want to do. That's what you want to do. And they didn't lose anybody. That's the huge thing. They didn't, not that they care about. And their losses are net gains in terms of Carlton Davis and Devin White, in my opinion.
Sure.
So, and of course you got your quarterback in Baker Mayfield. I didn't mention that. You bring all these guys back, and you have continuity. You have guys that have won, and I just love the freaking culture. I love it. The guys every one of these guys is serious football players. You don't have these knuckleheads running around talking about getting traded and they're playing with their Instagram and all this other stuff. None of that stupid sophomore BS that Devin White brought to the party.
No,
get out of here.
Stuff. No,
get out of here.
Messages. No distractions.
Get out of here.
He's saying, "Yeah, you don't need that. You don't need that for your culture."
These are serious football players.
Correct.
And I think Todd Bowles is growing into head coaching. I love Todd as a human being. I still think he needs to dramatically improve his game management and use of timeouts and challenges. You got to be better. And he's got to also, as a staff, they have to be quicker in recognizing players that can't play and shouldn't be playing. Devin White should not even have been on the field last year. When KJ Britt got in there, he was a dramatic upgrade. Dramatic upgrade. Matt Filer at left guard. You stick with guys too long. When they're bad, they're bad. Go with your instincts. You knew it early on. Get them the hell out and move on. There's better players out there and probably right on your own freaking roster. So I love where the Bucks are in terms of addressing their needs. They did it in the draft, they did it in free agency, and they brought back the guys they had to bring back. A plus 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 plus.
Is Barton a center or is he a guard?
He's a center. He's a center.
That's the right thing too.
Not messing around with that. He's a center.
Then you draft Elijah Klein.
I love Hainsey, but he's awful. He's awful.
Is he a left guard though, or is Elijah Klein this new kid, or the guy?
I think Hainsey is a serviceable backup at all positions.
Okay,
serviceable backup at all positions.
Okay,
all right. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, Dan Lucas is going to join us from WFLA News Channel 8. We are brought to you by the great folks at Hydrate Heroes and the Jeeves Law Group. Go to JEEVESLawgroup.com and get your free case evaluation. Whatever you got going on, you'll take a look at it, let you know if you have a case. Back in 3. Stay with us.
This is The Strike. 102.5 WHPT, HD2 Sarasota, Tampa, St. Pete.
JP here for the Jeeves Law Group and my man Scott Jeeves, who lives right here and has long been a highly respected member of our community. He's a proud sponsor of the Tampa Riverwalk. Jeeves Law Group is also a proud sponsor of our Grand Central District in St. Pete and has neighborhood events throughout the year. He has an office on Central Avenue in St. Pete and one on South Howard in Tampa. You can't get more local than that. So when you need an attorney, you're going to hire some huge firm that advertises all over the state or the one that supports your favorite sports show. It's the Jeeves Law Group. We're local, we're trusted, and we get results. For personal injury and personal attention, call us for a free case evaluation. That's 8889-JEEVES. That's 8889-JEEVES. All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on True Body and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. It's Diamond Days at the Gold and Diamond Source because April's birthstone is diamonds. As they take center stage, get up to 20% off all diamond jewelry. And our first-time buyers program will help you get educated about the 4 C's and all the different shapes and styles. And remember, you only want natural diamonds, folks. It takes billions of years to form a natural diamond. You don't want something that was made in a factory just a couple of weeks ago. And remember, your Gold and Diamond Source diamond never loses its value. You can always trade up at the Gold and Diamond Source for a bigger, better one. And they will spend the time to educate you about your diamonds and how to take care of them. And of course, consider the Gold and Diamond Source to maintain and insure your jewelry. They can professionally clean it, check the settings, and make any necessary repairs to keep your jewelry in top condition. It's the 40th anniversary of the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Overton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
Let's go! Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by those great folks at the Golden Diamond Source. Mother's Day is coming up, and they're going to have a great gift card match. We'll tell you more about that tomorrow, so tune in for that and get ready to head over to the Golden Diamond Source. All right, let's welcome in our good friend Dan Lucas from News Channel 8, WFLA. Dan, what's up, partner? How are you?
Not bad, boys. I'm doing just like everybody else right now, just kind of paying attention to what the Lightning are saying today, and I think I've gone from freak out mode to okay, I'll wait and see and listen mode. After listening to Julian Breezeball this morning and Steven Stamkos as well, everybody's saying the right things. So I think that the spirit of the discussion is correct, as opposed to last September. I think if you guys remember last September, they ended negotiations, which had to happen because the season was starting, but Stamkos was visibly not happy about it, and there was a
He was
cloud
ticked
hanging
off.
over this team. He was pissed,
Yeah.
and rightfully so. And the fact that we treat these guys like they're just objects and cattle sometimes, but
Yeah.
that guy dialed in for an entire hockey season with this hanging over his head, and never said a word about it. Tremendous job, because it could have. I wouldn't say it could have divided the room, but it definitely could have imploded the team if it lingered, for sure.
Yeah,
So.
and sometimes I look at the Dak Prescott situation. I look at Mike Evans. I look at Steven Stamkos. Is it so? And I understand where the players are coming from, because you can get injured. It affects your whole future. I get it.
Right.
But all of these guys are highly compensated already. They've made a ton of money in this league. Is it so bad to go out and prove it your final year?
Yeah.
It could look at the season that Evans had. Look at the season that Stammer had. We'll see what Dak Prescott does. But, sometimes I feel like this entitlement, and nothing against Stamkos because it's kind of the industry standard, this entitlement of, I deserve an extension before I play my final season under contract.
Right.
But I also look at Stamkos and I say, look at what he did for this franchise back in when he signed this contract. He said no to $12.75 million that Toronto was offering, and took 8.75 here, which, with Canadian, it brings it all close. We know the numbers,
right?
But still, he sacrificed so that they could sign other players. And I kind of think he's going to do the same thing again. What do you think?
Yeah, it's the old hometown discount. But from the side of the players, there is precedent for guys, particularly who are making peanuts. In the case of the NFL, you're on a rookie deal.
Well, that's different.
And
there's
a chance.
Yeah.
But I think that there's something to be said about going and doing your job with total security and peace of mind. And I think that's what Stamkos was after, the peace of mind, not so much the dollar amount. No, how much money do these guys need after they've got whatever in the bank? Not much.
Yeah.
But I think it's peace of mind. And in the case of a guy like Mike Evans, in your example, there's legacy involved that he would like to protect. Stamkos has a legacy involved that he would like to protect. And quite frankly, I think these guys want to do more away from the game to cement themselves within the community that this kind of deal would allow them to do. There's a lot at stake when you talk extensions. And the fear or risk of getting injured in that last year is huge, and not having a payday beyond that. So I understand their side of it as well. But you're right. I mean, if we all, if Peter were making $7.5 million, I'm not even sure he'd be behind that mic right now. He might be, Peter. Listen.
If he was in a contract year, he would be. That's the point, right?
Yeah, I know you got a sinus infection, baby, but this is your contract year. You got to drag your butt in there. You got to do it. I don't care if you have laryngitis. Get in there, buddy.
I think when before the season and you don't get the extension, you're in your head. You're like, now if I get hurt, I'm screwed. Now, when you get through the season, right, you didn't get hurt, kind of like Mike. Now you're like, yeah, you pissed me off. You should have paid me. You should have extended me before the season. But here we are. I didn't get hurt. I don't want to go anywhere. My wife doesn't want to go anywhere. My kids don't want to go anywhere. All right, I'll just sign. I think that kind of sets in, right?
We have an interesting situation here, and I think it goes for all the teams.
Yeah.
This is a destination.
Thank you.
To live.
Right.
People want to raise their kids here.
Right.
People, it's just a good place to be. And if people really knew the amount of athletes and celebrities that actually call the Tampa Bay area home, you'd be stunned.
Yes.
This is a place to be. And we've also come into this era, and you've been around a long time, and I've been around as well, a couple of decades. Yeah. These teams, the culture is to chase championships.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing. But in order to do that, two of the three. No, I'm talking about within the room.
Yes.
Within the room, those guys want to win championships. And I think that people are finally realizing that, well, in order to do that, I got to have this guy here and I got to have this guy here.
Right.
And in order, and that's not going to happen if one of us is getting
eats up all the salary cap.
What does it mean if I wrote down some of these numbers. Vazzy, Cooch, and Point each account for 10.8% of the Lightning salary cap. That's each. So that's 33% of the Lightning salary cap in 3 guys.
Right.
So how much more can you go on an individual and field a hockey team? That was part of Julian's stance last summer. He says, guys, I want to sign Steven Stamkos today, but I got to build a hockey team.
Right.
And so he's right. So, you know.
And Stamkos knows that, as did Mike Evans, as did Baker Mayfield.
Stamkos isn't dumb. The NHL salary cap can be brutal when it comes to putting a team together, especially in midseason when injuries start happening. But these guys, if you want to win in hockey, you have to have depth at every position.
As we just saw.
You got to have the 4 lines. The Lightning paid the price a little bit this year. I kind of describe it as someone taking an axe to a big tree. Every time they've made moves in the past, 5 years, I mean, there's a chop in the axe.
Yeah.
You got to be careful. And it's just unavoidable. I think this series against the Panthers showed us where these two teams are, where these two franchises are right now. You hate it for the Lightning perspective, but if just in hockey alone, we've seen these eras, the Pens, the Blackhawks, the Red Wings, those teams went completely into the crapper. Not so much the Pens, but you don't want the Lightning to go that direction.
Right.
You can still you're in this competitive area, but after 2 years of first round playoff exits, it's not working.
Right.
So you got to get your depth. You got to get your depth straightened out. In addition to bringing your icon back to make everybody in the right frame of mind.
Because of those players taking up so much cap there, Dan, is there a big move on the horizon that you could see possibly trading, as crazy as it sounds, a Braden Point to get back some defense so you can be more of a balanced team? Or do you think they keep that core and just continue to add to them? I mean, where do you go at this point? Because I got a friend that says you make some moves, you kind of blow it up because you've only gone so far with this core, simply because of what happened in the series versus the Panthers.
Yeah, it's a tightrope, quite frankly, for the GM because right below those 3 guys, you got Sergachev at 9.69%, and I believe he might be a 12 million guy or 11 million guy. Yeah, which is phenomenal. Victor Hedman's right below him, and Hedman has a contract year coming up.
Yeah,
I think it's a fair question to ask because they've had some not really rentals over the years, but when you go to the Blake Coleman and the Barclay Goodrow trades, it helped get them over the hump, but it was unsustainable, so they were gone.
Yeah,
and then you have these. Now you bring in Tanner Jeannot. What have you gotten from that for it? Right now, Tanner Jeannot to me is So you bring in Anthony Duclair at the deadline this year, who is also going to be up here, but I think Duclair's arrival helped this team get right at that time.
I was expecting him to do much more in the playoffs against his old team.
I did as well. But remember when he got here?
He sparked the team.
Boy, this team was flailing, and he arrived and came in. Did he score a goal in his first game? And just kept it going?
His first 7 games he pointed.
Right,
and I think I like his game. I think he's a good fit here. But
this team misses Pat Maroon. This team misses Ross Colton. This team misses Yanni Gord, which was a
Ryan McDonough.
They miss Ryan McDonough. It's the way that this sport works. It has chipped away at the depth of this team. So to your really the short answer, Peter, is they've got to get their depth fixed. If it means parting ways with a massive number to bring in maybe 3 guys, that would be a sacrifice that might be worth it in the long run because the big name players are good. They're very popular. They're great guys. But you're looking at back-to-back first-round playoff exits. And as far as the future goes, you got to ask, how do we stack up against the Panthers? How do we stack up against the Bruins? And that's just to get to the Western Conference, which is a monster this year. So, it's an interesting dilemma for Julien Brisebois.
And I think 68, 69 million is devoted to the top 8 core players in the salary cap. And the salary cap's only what, 84, 85 million?
Something like that.
Yeah. So we're the most top heavy team in the league.
Right.
Yeah.
Julian
and so
there's a CBA agreement coming up. I forget when that's coming up. Things might change for the better, but that's for everybody. But it would help the Lightning situation. You know, people can criticize Julian all they want about the no Stamkos deal last summer, but this guy has jumped through hoops. He was the cap guy for Yzerman. No one knows the cap like Julian and can get around it like Julian. I mean, the Brent Seabrook trade to get Tyler Johnson's money off the books. I mean, the guy's an evil genius. So he's gonna get it figured out. The problem is, I go back to the fact that the quality on the ice suffered in a depth perspective. Now, you know what stood out to me, JP? When were the Flyers here? Some point in the springtime. But John Tortorella said at a press conference that the Lightning are not as deep as they used to be. Yeah. And he said, in order to beat the Lightning, you just have to keep them off the power play. I mean, Torts is saying that. So what do you think all these coaches are thinking?
Yeah, same thing.
I mean,
but what's weird is the Panthers didn't give a rat's ass. They took as many penalties as they want, and they just crushed the Bucks the Lightning's power play. I mean,
the other team a few years ago, the other team that did that was Carolina to the Lightning.
Oh.
They were phenomenal in the penalty kill. The thing that really was disturbing about it wasn't Carolina was aggressive. They come to the puck and they got the sticks waving everywhere in the passing lanes. Florida was reading the passing lanes.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Florida was anticipating everything to the point where how many power plays did you guys watch of this team? They were reading the Lightning minds before the Lightning guys.
They were in game 5. I think every time the Lightning went on the power play, the Panthers got 2 shots on goal and we got none. I mean, it was. I was like, let's get back to 5-on-5 where we can actually score.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is weird because they were the best 5-on-5 team in the league, and like that did not go according to plan whatsoever. Power play was supposed to be the huge advantage for the Bolts in this series, and they got plenty of them, and at key times, and they couldn't do anything with them. I was shocked by that they didn't make any adjustments. They tried to make some. I mean, I'm more of a just tip of the cap to Florida. I don't know what the hell kind of voodoo crap they put on Kucherov, but man. He couldn't do anything in the power play. He's been our engine to run that power play. He's either scoring or making an incredible pass. And I don't know what the hell he was doing. I didn't even recognize that guy in the playoffs.
Well, Florida's a good team, buddy. And as much as I hated to see it, I'm happy for Carter Verhaeghe. As much as you hate to see him go, he was another guy after 2020. That was
Marchessault, Verhaeghe, Yanni Gord, Ryan. I mean, my God.
Yeah. The Panthers, they're going to get to the conference final. I'm going to presume they play the Rangers. The Rangers are elite, and if they get through that, I don't know who's getting out of the West because those series are all wacky. The Dallas Vegas series is 2-2.
Yeah.
The road team.
Nobody's won on home ice. Yeah.
Exactly. So, but. It's going to be a gauntlet for sure, but the Panthers are loaded and ready to go, and the Lightning ran into that team. Just
what you think of the? I went nuts yesterday on those disallowed goals, the goalie interference. I mean, dude, those 2 calls were the worst. And then when you juxtapose them with the call on non-call on Vasi, who's literally run and knocked on his ass and can't make a save. You breathe on Bobrovsky, and it's let's wave that shit off. I mean,
well, I played 0 shifts in any level of hockey, so it's hard for me to relate on what is actually.
Right. Well, Brian Bradley's played in front of the net a lot, and he's like, "That's correct. BS. That's all BS."
What I don't understand is when and Brian Engblom on the Bally, Brian Engblom. I could talk to the guy all day about hockey.
Yeah, he's amazing.
He makes you smarter in 5 minutes.
Yes.
He explained these while the video was showing, and it's not even Engblom doesn't really give the spin. He gives it to you as it is, and he was blown away at both situations. And my problem is, the referees are standing there. They're on the headsets to Toronto. What are the guys in Toronto looking at?
I think these are the same guys that were booing Kucherov. at the All-Star game. Those are the same guys that run the Toronto replay. Yeah.
They're
just every time they go to Toronto, we get F.
everywhere.
Every time.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I just don't. The Duclair having his stick held. I go, it's right there on videotape.
And Bobrovsky's got his both his hands around Duclair's skate. Like
it's not subjective.
I'll take him by the leg. You take him by the stick, and we got.
It's either bright and sunny. It's either bright and sunny or it's cloudy, guys. It's not. There's no one about it. Is his stick being held or is it not being held? Okay. Oh no challenge.
My big thing was they talk about it should be egregious, right? Is the goalie affected? Was he able to make the save? In Vassie's case, no, he got knocked on his ass, and it's a freebie, right? So it wasn't an earned goal, in my opinion. It was the net was because he was on his ass. Both of these, Bobrovsky's standing straight up, and Cirelli just does a little spin in front of him that barely even touches him. The puck's already past him, and then he's like, oh.
He picks up Cirelli
as he looks at the puck in the back, and then he finally flops, and I'm like, "Are you kidding me?"
And he looks right at the flop. Yeah.
He looks at the ref, and the ref's like, "Yeah, no goal." Like what?
Cirelli actually did a courtesy for Bobrovsky when he was spinning around his guy. He actually put his stick up against his own body and up to avoid the goaltender. He doesn't see the goaltender when he starts his spin. By the time he's halfway through his spin, he sees Bobrovsky's right here. Picks up his stick and completes his spin. Three bodies are within a 2-foot square space.
But
of course, he's going to be contact.
He had all the room to move if he wanted to. He never saw the shot. And on the Duclair one, he moves over, and Cirelli just picks up the puck and lifts it over his pad. But he had all the freedom to move across the crease that he needed. Both instances, you did not impede the goalie from trying to make the save as it was with Vassie. But this is there's no consistency to that at all. Now, am I saying, Toronto has it out for Lightning? No, I'm just saying, get your shiz together, guys. I mean, get some consistency with this because that's not consistent. And those are two huge goals in a game 5 that if it goes the other way, it's coming back for game 6. Now, look, the Panthers were the better team by a margin, not a large margin, but better. They were great on the penalty kill, but the Lightning, every game was either tied or they were down 1 going into the third. It's not like this was some blowout series. Those stupid calls mattered, like big time.
They did, and here's my perspective on the calls, right or wrong. The calls happen, so it's a bad luck for the team. At the time, anyone watching the game itself knows that it impacted that stretch of the game and probably impacts the rest of the game. Who knows? The unforgivable thing for me was the Lightning power play, and they get a face-off in their own end because they've screwed it up already. They lose that face-off and give a clean look for a shorthanded goal. That is
terrible
to me.
Terrible.
The goaltender interference will always stick out for that, but that's that. If you want to pick a moment, I think they lost the game. I think they lost the game on that goal. I think they made it 3-1 at that point. And then it became then you're chasing the clock. And once it was 4-1, it was just about 9 minutes to go in the third period. And I'm sitting in the sports office working, and I'm yelling at my TV. I'm like, well, you pull this guy in the middle of the season with 10 minutes to go. Your season's now on the line. Just pull him. You waited another 2 minutes to pull him. Like, pull him now. You're down 4-1.
Yeah.
Who cares if it's 10-1 at that point? It's
about to be 10-1. Yeah.
Well, if they kept going empty netters, it might have been, but yeah.
Right.
So yeah, I think when it was after the first empty netter, both teams just kind of wanted to finish it out. They weren't even touching each other at that point. It was just, let's just get out of here. So, but those the 2 calls did impact the immediate part of that game because if the score is tied, we could always say coulda, woulda, shoulda, but if the score is tied at a certain point in the game is definitely different.
And I think the end result is this. That team, I think the Panthers is going to win the cup or they're going to go deep. They were in the final last year. Mm-hmm. They're one of the top 4 teams in the league. The Lightning played with them. They weren't blown out like the Caps were. They you see some of these other series, it's like that team doesn't even belong. The Lightning are right there. You don't blow
Yes.
this. I hear people say, "Oh, blow it all up, get rid of everybody, sell the farm, rebuild." I'm like, no.
Right.
You still got one of the best cores in the league. The window is still very much open. You just got to go find some other pieces and stay healthy, and you got a shot. You got a shot.
It's the realistic approach for me is, the Lightning. Lightning have this resume and track record in the last decade. They have to be humble enough right now to say, how can we beat the Panthers in a series? Entering this summer, when you're going to build your team, get your philosophy and enter training camp, how can you beat the Panthers and get to round 2? And then you got to look beyond round 2, what's out there. You can't say, "Oh, we won 2 cups. We've been there.
No.
We know this."
You're right. If you could beat the Panthers, you can beat anybody. So zero in on that.
Figure out how to do that in a
Great
playoff
point.
series. And I think the Lightning are right back in the mix to make a deeper run in the playoffs. So it's for Lightning fans. It's a humbling experience, and it's what makes those 3 runs to the final so amazing. You got to appreciate them, but you got to hope that your executives do the right decisions to get to that next level. You're back to step 1. So, like you said, Kuch, Point, Sergachev, Vazzy. I mean, can these guys get past the first round of the playoffs? I think they can.
They can.
If they've got.
If they'd have had Boston this year, they would have. But
yeah, I don't think Boston's beating Florida, buddy.
No,
Florida's gonna motor.
Boston tanked for a reason, and that was a good move for them. Yeah,
exactly. So.
All right, Dan. Before you go, I got one more thing I have to say about. Well, I want to get your take on the Rays. I'm done with Jose. I'm done with Jose Siri. Get off my team. Get off my team. Did he pimp it yesterday? Did Peralta?
That ball as soon as
he pimps everything. He pimps every pop up. For God's sakes, I wasn't even mad at yesterday. I'm just sick of I'm sick of the loafing. You know what has infected this team is it's like show off. Let's pimp. Let's show off. Let's worry about our uniforms. Let's worry about what we look like. Let's worry about our jewelry. Let's worry about our socks. How about you worry about hitting a freaking curveball? How about you worry about that? How about you worry about hustling to first base? How about you worry about hustling in center field? How about you worry about that stuff? I think the culture of this team has gone from being maniacal about the details to being, a bunch of guys that want to show off and see how pretty they look. I'm done with it. And Siri's the worst offender in my opinion.
I listened to Kevin Cash's comments after the game because I wanted to get his reaction to the punches being thrown, and he came out and said that the Freddie Peralta, the first pitcher, was ejected. Didn't like the posing after the home run and all that. And I thought to myself, you tell these guys to be themselves.
Right.
Which I think is good because you have so many diverse personalities in a room that when it becomes harmful to the team, is there not a discussion that's being had behind closed doors? Maybe there is. I'm not ripping Kevin Cash. Maybe he gave Siri hell last night in the office. But when a guy does that, someone else in the dugout or the clubhouse needs to go, dude, just. I get it. You hit the ball far. It was awesome. But had you just jogged, none of this would have happened. You also lead
the league in strikeouts. Have some humility, bro.
Yes. I agree. I'm not saying the whole sequence last night started with the home run posing thing. Right. He has to wear that. Then he gets plunked in the hip. All right. Now, the slate is even now.
Right.
That's why I had such a problem with the Uribe brush.
Yeah.
And then whatever words were said, but then Uribe throws the first punch. Now he has baited Siri into throwing punches. Who knows what's going to come out of that? I haven't heard anything yet. But that to me is strike 2, hurting your team, getting goaded into this whatever the baseball fight. Our baseball fight's awesome. So you're doing that, and now you're hurting your team.
He swung and missed there too.
Yes, he did.
Nobody made contact in that fight. That was the worst fight I've ever seen. I mean, what is this? They should have started
It's
playing
baseball
some disco
fights.
music.
Yeah.
If they
Nobody
played some
got hit and
disco
everybody
music,
got
it would've been
hurt.
better.
That's a baseball
Yeah.
fight.
Right,
Nobody got hit and
exactly.
everybody got hurt. Yeah.
I'm gonna show you. I'll show you. Show me what I'm
Golly.
standing here. You missed me. I'm just standing here.
You
The
know,
only thing that was missing was Anthony Davis crying. I mean, my God. I mean, it's the middle of hockey playoffs, and we got NBA players brushing up against guys and and running up and down the field. Oh, my arm! It's like my 9-year-old. Like, I'm hurt.
Meanwhile, in hockey, I watched these guys who went at Ryan Reeves of the Maple Leafs recently. I can't remember who it was on the way. What might have been Jeannot.
It was Jeannot, yeah.
yeah,
He found out he
so,
was the second best fighter in the league.
Yeah, Jeannot took a shot. But these dudes, there's like a code of honor. First of all, they're all bloody knuckles, bloody head. Maybe the helmet's on. I don't know. And there's almost a little bit of a nod to each other. Nice work.
Nice work. Yeah, absolutely.
Man, it's great. I mean, you got these guys last night. You brushed my shoulder, bro.
You stared at that ball too long. You stared at the ball too long.
You stared at that home run. You showed me up.
Rules of baseball, which have never been written. I mean, I talked to Roberto Hernandez about it.
Yeah.
He does not like the whole, showboating.
Oh, I
thing.
know. Yeah, he has no. Yeah.
Right. Siri just hit a ball to Sheboygan.
Yeah.
So of course he's gonna. I think he
pimps his infield flies. Yeah. I thought that was understated for him. That was like, he hit it 425. He should have danced. I thought he was going to dance all the way around the freaking bases without.
Only Mace Hayes with that, man. Make him do push-ups before he gets every time he.
Story of my my batting practice session at the Trop. Ever tell you that one?
No.
So I go out there and I'm hitting the ball. It's going every single ball I hit. I'm like, ground out. And so they gave me a couple little tips, and then I start making contact, and so it felt good. And so then I get one pitch, and it's one of those baseball moments you dream of where you don't even feel the contact, you feel it, the trajectory, and you're like, and I hit it, and I was like, oh my God. I'm like, what? Here we go, and the ball went 200 feet. Literally a can of corn. Like if it were a game, the outfielder
skipped off the deep shortstop. Yeah,
looks like the left fielder's coming in for that one. That's what. And I was I literally hit the ball, and you know what I did when I hit it? I stood there and posed. I watched it.
And the pitching machine got mad.
The pitching machine started.
Pitching machine plunked the next guy.
And I'm done. I'm going to throw a punch at the pitching machine. Here it comes.
Siri'd have a fight with the pitching machine and swing and miss again.
The pitching machine.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the Rays are cooked.
I don't know what's going to happen today. Yeah,
the Rays
they're
are
not
cooked.
in a good way right now. Not in a good way. Baseball is one of those games though where you just play yourself through it and play yourself out of it. So if they have a pretty good June, which was their death last year, we'll turn the page. But it's just when the pitching is on, they're not hitting. When they're hitting balls, they're giving up 6-7 runs a game. It's just not in sync right now. And you look around baseball, if you look at the standings right now, there are some bad teams.
There are
very bad teams.
Yeah,
the
like
Rays
the White Sox who just swept us.
Yeah, who just swept them. The Marlins, even the Angels have a really piss poor record.
Yeah.
The Rays are kind of in the mediocre, waiting to pick a direction. Are they going to go bad or are they going to get back up? So you just got to see how it plays out.
Yeah. All right, Dano, you want to promote anything you guys got coming up?
Well, I'll tell you, this week we're going to get him on air soon, but Kenny Morales, our good buddy from used to work at Spectrum, is now with us. So excited. Yesterday was his second day, and he was actually going to be with Eileen Natchick and Bob Hansen today at the arena. They're taking care of all the Lightning stuff this morning.
Okay, cool.
So we may get to see him soon, but look for his on-air return soon, grand return. So that's pretty exciting for us. And of course, I wish the rookie camp were this week.
Next week
in 2 weeks. Yeah, next week. If it were this week, can you imagine the momentum we'd have for this draft class? So we'll talk about these guys until we actually get to see them in underwear.
We'll have you on next week. We'll talk about the rookies coming in because we didn't get the Bucks talk. Good Lightning stuff though. And we'll be watching tonight. You guys, I'll have all the sound from Breezebois and Stamkos and everybody on News Channel 8. Thanks, buddy.
And Dan, I would be here. I would be here even if I was making $7.5 million. I still be here. I love this show.
Hey man, it's about the team, Peter. It's about the team, baby.
All about the team.
Right, I'll be the only one that tells the truth. I'd be
7.5. I'll call in from the ninth fairway.
See you at Cancun, baby. Yeah.
Hang on. Cart girls here, guys. Hang on.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Right, exactly.
Call me. I won't answer.
Right.
All right. Thanks, Dano. Appreciate it.
All right, boys. Be good.
All right, Good stuff there. No, I would. I love what I do here. I don't know if I'd be on the phone in sales. We've already been down that road.
No, you would not be doing that. No,
I definitely would not be doing it. But talking sports here.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I say people say, when are you going to retire? I'm like, never.
Never.
I love what I do. Absolutely.
Right.
And I need the money. So yeah, besides I mean, like Stamkos, where we banked $500 million and we're and that's that's why I don't think these guys are not doing. Some of these guys don't do this for money, and I would put Stamkos in that. As money is their driving factor. They want to win. They have quality of life. They live. They have families.
Yeah.
But I'm sure Mike Evans was pissed off when he didn't get extended, and I'm sure Stamkos was pissed off. Well, we know he was, but when he sits there now, getting through the season, and you're healthy, you didn't. You sit there and you go, okay, do I really want to go somewhere else for a couple more million? I mean, is that gonna make my life better? $2.5 million more per year. That's $8 million over the life of the contract, maybe. When I've got $150 million in the bank already. I mean, it doesn't affect. Now moving, putting your kids in new schools, getting used to a new neighborhood, telling your wife you got to pack everything up, blah 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 blah. Does that affect your life? Oh yeah. Yeah, it does.
Oh yeah.
Yes, on a daily basis. It's a huge effect. Getting used to a new organization, a new place. Is there something exciting about the new stuff? Yeah. But, that stuff wears off quick. It wears off really quick.
We just need to do a recruiting pitch to Stamkos' wife because we all know who made the final decision in the Evans family. It was Evans' wife.
That's a great point.
I mean, I'm just saying, happy wife, happy life.
Julian, you're talking to the wrong people. Stop talking to the agent and the player. Go talk to the wife. She's already on his. You think she's going, let's get the hell out of here?
No. Who wants to leave here, even though the rent prices are out of control and gas? I mean, it's beautiful weather. Look outside right now. I mean, and
by the way, the other thing that's great about living in Tampa Bay, we don't put up with any of the nonsense on campus.
That's right.
None of that nonsense on campus.
Right.
We protect our students who want to go to school.
Wow.
That's who we protect. Shout out to Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. Shout out to Ron DeSantis. Shout out to all those people that keep law and order in this state. And when you want to block kids from going to school, you want to intimidate kids from going to school that they pay for, you want to demand food be brought to you, you want to take hostages. You know what you're going to be met with in Tampa Bay, in Hillsborough County at USF? Tear gas. Get the hell out of here. You want to have a peaceful protest? That's all good. That's all good. You want to have a peaceful protest? We're all for it. We need more of it. You want to have a peaceful one? That's great. You want to start stopping people from going to school, intimidating them? No, not going to play here. So shout out to the people that in Tampa Bay that keep law and order, because we don't have that shenanigans that goes on in other cities and other places. Thank you, Chad Chronister.
Yes.
Thank you, Ron DeSantis.
Yes. By the way, everybody getting up in arms about Cooper's comments about putting the skirt on and saying,
"Oh God."
I mean, it was going across Twitter, and I was like, "Are you serious? Like, keep the same energy. Like, you guys won't even come up there and defend women's sports."
That's right.
When it comes,
that's right.
And again, I don't want to make this political, but it is what it is. Well, I mean, do we even
It's
know?
not political. It's right and wrong, bro.
It is.
Right.
It
and
is.
Be consistent.
Right.
And be consistent.
Thank you. Like
the same people that are supporting Leah Thomas,
right,
and men masquerading as women playing in women's sports,
right,
are up in arms over a skirt comment. Think about the consistency of that. Think about the consistency of that.
if they use the same energy to defend women's sports as they were going after Cooper yesterday, we probably have a better world at this point. I mean,
it's listen, is that the right vernacular to use? No.
Yeah.
And Cooper will be the first one to say, okay, I shouldn't have said that. But that's something that's been ingrained in many of us for years and years and years, that we've had to say, you know what? And especially now, I know a lot more women that are tougher than men. I know a lot of wussies out there. Yeah, I know. And I know a lot of strong women. So I wouldn't say it because it's just not true. Like we know that's an old vernacular that we don't need to use. And he'll be the first to say that. But when you want to jump in on canceling John Cooper, he should be fired. You guys are morons. Is he a misogynist? No, he's not. No. It's called a slip of the tongue. Dude, look at how he supports women's hockey. Real women's hockey, by the way. Real that the real women are playing.
Like real women?
Yes. Yeah. All the charitable causes. It's one of the greatest humans I know. So stop with that stupid stuff, that gotcha stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's ridiculous. Like fourth grade, when you were in fourth grade.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm telling you, my paddle.
He called me stupid.
Call me stupid. I'm going to cancel you. I'm going to the principal. I'm going to the teacher. I'm going to cancel. Like, guys, grow up. Yeah. Like, seriously. God, you know where all the bullies went to? Twitter.
Yeah.
Try to cancel everybody.
All right, we got to take a break. Shout out to our good friends at Hydrate Heroes. We are presented by Hydrate Heroes each and every day. I don't have my shaker cup, but I got my Hydrate Heroes right here.
I got to get one. I got to get a shaker
cup. My USF cup. Yeah, we got to get you one. You can try it free, folks. Try it, hydrateheroes.com. Try hydrateheroes.com. Just go to the website, sign up right there, and we will send you 3 free packets, and you'll get all the good stuff in it, the 8 minerals and all the good things, the electrolytes that are good for you, the amla fruit that's in there, the vitamin D that's in there, and none of the bad stuff, none of the sugar, none of the caffeine, none of those artificial flavors and colors, none of that stuff is in there. Go try hydrateheroes.com. We'll send you 3 free samples, and you can try it less than $1 a serving, way better than those heavy sugar drinks for hydration. Keep healthy and get the benefits, 8 times the benefits with Hydrate Heroes. Try hydrateheroes.com. Back in 3. Stay with us. Are you looking to be more productive and healthier? Do you know chronic dehydration affects your overall health and well-being? 75% of the U.S. population suffers from dehydration, and many of us don't even know it. That was me before I was introduced to Hydrate Heroes. 8 times the benefits with hydration. A beverage with benefits more than just hydration. That's right, 8 times the benefits with hydration. Hydrate Heroes provides a refreshing, great-tasting beverage powder to mix with water, providing elderberry, zinc, vitamin D, electrolytes, amla fruit, which provides a great source of vitamin C, along with a proprietary mushroom blend that has shown to help increase endurance and energy at the cellular level. Hydrate Heroes is so confident you're going to love the taste and the results. They are offering our listeners a special offer, a free 3-pack sample, no credit card needed. Just go to the jppetersonshow.com, the jppetersonshow.com, and click on Hydrate Heroes logo. Hydrate for health today with Hydrate Heroes.
All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on True Body and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com.
Everyone knows Italiano Insurance is your go-to for home insurance, but they also have an amazing team that focuses on business insurance. Yes, your business is most likely your biggest asset. So make sure you have the right coverage at the most competitive price. And if you started a side hustle recently, don't forget you need business insurance, because if you get sued in this over litigious society we live in, you could lose all your personal wealth. So get that business insurance. And for the best customer service, always choose Italiano. My representative, Charity, is amazing. I called her late on a Friday because my insurance was going to lapse. She stayed late until the job was done. You just don't find that anymore. Give them a call, 813-877-7799. That's 813-877-7799. Italiano Insurance.
JP here for Extravaganza Productions. You know, I've worked with these pros on so many big and small events. They recently did the Kappa Alpha Psi Grand Reunion, the Tampa RV Show Exhibit. They did the Skills Center opening of Tampa Bay. They can do those small events. They do the biggest of events. So if you are thinking about planning a meeting or special event, call the talented staff at Team EPI. They will give you a free creative meeting if you mention the JP Peterson Show. They will provide you with an exceptional experience. Heck, they'll even show you their huge warehouse with great props. Anything you want. They'll do it on time and on budget. You can reach them at their Tampa headquarters at 813-621-4700 or go to extravaganzaproductions.com. Tell them JP sent you.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at the Jeeves Law Group and Extravaganza Productions. If you have an event coming up, whether it's a charity event, a big birthday coming up, you want to spice it up with some really cool props and have the professionals do it for you, it's extravaganzaproductions.com. Much cheaper than you would think, folks. Get a creative meeting, a free creative meeting. Just call them up, email them, say, I want to come in and talk about this event I have, and maybe you can give me some ideas. Doesn't cost you a dime, and they'll give you a budget, all that good stuff, and they'll come in on time and on budget, and you'll have a great event. So stop trying to do all this stuff yourself. Give it to the experts, and that's extravaganzaproductions.com. Go see them. Tell them JP sent you, please. All right, got to mention this, bro.
Mm-hmm.
The rooster, Marcus Outson, has passed away. Yes. I run into him all the time in Tampa resident, great family man, got a great family, passed away yesterday, I believe. Barry Smith had it up on his Facebook today, fellow Noel. So yeah, he was the guy that beat Florida, came off the bench when Chris Wenke had his neck injury in 99, I believe. Mm-hmm. They had to beat Florida to go to the national championship game. And he did it. He did it with a late touchdown pass that went through the hands of a Gator. I'm trying to remember who that was. Mm-hmm. One of you Knowles will remind me. But great dude. I ran into him. He's a fixture at events in Tampa, and just a super, super young man, and just taken way, way too early. So rest in peace, Marcus Outson, the Rooster. Will go down in Florida State history as one of the great personalities too. What a great dude. Just super bubbly. Everywhere you went, and you saw him, he was like, hey, JP, what's up? And, just one of the great ones. And just so sad to hear that.
Too soon again. I got to read this. The Cleveland Browns are asking taxpayers to fund, get this, you're going to love this, half of a $2.4 billion new stadium with $1 billion in upgrades to a current stadium, the Cleveland Browns. So once again, professional teams asking the public for half of the money to build their own stadium, $2.4 billion, which consequently is possibly the new stadium that could be built by Stu and the Rays there in St. Pete. Your thoughts?
It's happening all over. Nobody has the stomach for public money, especially when it's when the deals are like the one in St. Pete, which is just a money grab. It's not, where it's all just completely one way. We still haven't even seen the final documents that they're supposed to vote on because they're trying to keep everything secret and have for quite some time because it's a horrible deal. If it was a great deal for the taxpayers, they'd have been letting you know that they'd had the deal done a long time ago. It had been out in front of the county commission, but they're trying to ram this thing through. And because it's a terrible deal for taxpayers and nobody, and especially for St. Pete, we got
New Jerseys, grit and glow, baby, grit and glow. It's all about
it's like
and the glow and
$2.4 billion.
When
is the real cost to taxpayers.
spending
and
no
you
money.
don't get any parking revenue, you don't get concession, but you get no revenue sharing whatsoever from the Rays. They just take. You sell them $750 million worth of real estate, prime real estate for $100 million. Why are you discounting that to a billionaire? He's got the money. Why are you doing that? Because he won't do the deal without it. Unless you stuff his pockets full of cold hard cash of $1 billion, he ain't going to do the deal. And that's what he wanted in Hillsborough. And Hillsborough said, no, we're not doing that. Nope. We'll do a public-private partnership with you where both of us get our money's worth. You see, he has no interest in that. He just wants to take. And that's why this is a horrible deal. 3% of the population in St. Pete actually goes to the Trop. 3%. And you want to spend $2.4 billion of taxpayer money? Well, cost the taxpayers?
Yeah, makes sense.
In a failed location, by the way.
Sure.
Failed. You already know it's a terrible location.
Yeah.
But let's do it again anyway.
Let's do
taxpayer. It. And here's the thing. If it was voted on, they're so afraid of public opinion at the city council, they wouldn't even allow a straw poll to be taken.
No.
In the last election. A non-binding straw poll. They voted it down because the Rays wanted it voted down because they know what the answer is going to. That thing would have come back 80% negative, just like the League of Women Voters one did. Now, the Rays are putting out some sponsored poll that they did on Facebook and other places where they said, would you like to keep the Rays in St. Pete? Like, that's all that's the question. Not like, how much does it cost, this particular deal? None of that. They didn't ask him that. They said, oh, would you like to keep the Rays in St. Petersburg? And they're like, oh, sure. Yeah, we'd love to keep them. And don't ask what cost or anything. And they put that stupid poll out there. And then they have to sponsor it because not even the Times will, well, maybe they would, but no responsible journalist, because it's completely irrelevant. But they put it out there with the nice little headline. Oh, there's tons of public support. There's no public support for this. If you thought there was public support, why didn't you do a straw poll? Why aren't you doing a poll? Why isn't the Times doing a poll? Why isn't anybody doing a poll except the League of Women Voters? And that came back 80% negative because they actually put what the deal is in the survey questions. And once people see what it costs, they're like, no, of course not. Why would I be for that?
Right.
We got stuff like roads and plumbing, like actual plumbing to do. They have the $700 million need to redo all the stormwaters in St. Pete and Pinellas County. And they're going to forego that to build a baseball stadium not forego it. That's not fair. But they're going to use this money instead to build a baseball stadium in a failed location.
Yeah.
Jesus. All right, what else do we
going
need?
on with Chicago too? Chicago, Cleveland. I mean, I think everybody's in the twilight zone. Like, does this happen anymore? Nah. So
we didn't really go over. We kind of mentioned it with Dan, but the fight last night in the game, and of course the Rays get blown out again by the Brewers. They're just a terrible baseball team right now. They're injured, and to me though, it's just more about where we've gone with this team. I mean, think of the culture that used to exist on his team. Now you coddle this Wander Franco so much that he just has no discipline. You let him do whatever the hell he wants, and this ends up badly, of course. He was a poor teammate last year. You got Rosarena and Yandy fighting, brawling. You got Jose Siri now coming in with all his stupid shenanigans. It's like, can we get back to effing baseball? Can we get back to trying harder than the other teams, being smarter than other teams, doing the little things? I mean, like last night, a slow roller to third, and Paredes just goes right under his glove. It's just like, routine play it short, throw it in the dirt. I mean, just guys center fielder doesn't even move on a chopper on the infield. Well, it wasn't even a chopper, but an infield ground ball that's between defenders. Well, they'll get it. Don't worry. Oh crap, it got through. I guess I better run and get it now. It's just little league stuff, bro. They get thrown out on the bases right and left. They're not even playing smart baseball. The culture of this team has completely deteriorated. And that's, to me, I know they got a lot of injuries, but they just don't play good baseball anymore. It's sloppy. It's boring. Their strike zone is ridiculously undisciplined. They swing at terrible pitches and let perfect pitches go by. It's just dumb baseball team. It's a lazy baseball team. It's a lack of fundamentals baseball team. Last night, Tyler Alexander's a left-handed pitcher. He can't even keep guys on.
No.
You're a lefty. And Brian Anderson was saying it without saying it. He's like, yeah, when I came up, Mark Langston had one of the best moves in the game, and he was one of the best pitchers in the game. And my coach told me, if you're a left-handed pitcher and you don't have a great move, you're lazy. You're lazy. And that's what you are. If you don't have a great move as a left-hander, you're lazy. And they're just running all over the Rays last night like it's nothing on a left-hander.
That's what Major League Baseball has done to the Rays. They're terrible at throwing out runners.
Major League Baseball. It's the Rays suck, and,
right.
and there's no attention to detail. It doesn't look like a Kevin Cash managed team to me. I don't know where the hell their fundamentals have gone, but it's bad.
And I tell you right now, anytime you see that effort from Siri, like you did on Saturday night where you benched him, that's what you need to continue to do to every player.
Get rid of him. Get rid of him. What good is he?
I mean,
what good is he?
He can't hit his weight.
He can't hit. He's a distraction. He's more worried about the color of his hair and his jewelry than he is playing center field.
He's Cisco. He's trying to get a song.
You don't need that stuff, man. It's like get back to playing baseball.
Yeah, I agree. No, I completely agree. And I think it's the Wander Franco situation. I think it also stems from maybe getting rid of players on this team like a Tyler Glass now. Everybody's like, well, they can replace them. It's okay. You got too many injuries. You don't have enough talent. And then on top of it, you have all these distractions on this.
I mean, we got to get rid of Kevin Kiermaier because he's overpaid, and we got to get rid of him. Yeah, okay. Yeah, for Jose Siri. Why? Because he's cheaper.
Yeah,
that's the only reason you get rid of Kevin Kiermaier, because he's cheaper. You had a fan favorite who could have been a Devil Ray for life, a Ray for life, right? Mm-hmm. Probably would have taken less money to stay, and you get rid of him for Jose Siri.
That's the Rays way right there. I mean, he did hit over 20 home runs last year, but now it looks like he's going to strike out over 130 times. I mean, it's ridiculous. He has no plate discipline at all. And then on top of it, when he's out in the field, and I try to calm fans down on social media, but all they say all the time is this guy is just loafing out there like he is a showboat. And there is a reason why you got him in the trade in the first place. There's a reason why the Astros, which, by the way, they're not killing it right now, we're wanting to get rid of him in the first place. There's a reason why they trade players. It's not always in the Rays' favor. It's not.
Yep.
And this clearly shows it. So,
well, listen, great job, Peter. Appreciate you. We were on Instagram today. We appreciate all you folks watching on Instagram. Make sure you comment in there. We'll shout you out. Shout out to Michael Rhodes, who was watching today. Cowbell Max, I saw your name on here. So we just keep reaching out, getting more and more viewers and listeners. We appreciate you guys. We can't do what we do without you. So we love you. We thank you and appreciate you supporting the show. Please support all of our great sponsors, the Jeeves Law Group, Bay Area Modern Medical Center, Italiano Insurance, the Golden Diamond Source. Did you flip this over today at all? Let's flip that over.
Flip what over?
To the other overlay. Nope, not that one. Hold on. That one.
There you go. Okay.
Extravaganza Productions, American Mortgage Service, Synovus Bank, and the Geddes Gordon Group. We thank you all. And, of course, our great friends at Hydrate Heroes. Have a great day, everybody. We will be back tomorrow with more fun and frivolity. See you then.